It is Thursday afternoon. It is Bell Let's Talk Day.
That snuck up on me this year. I was like,
yes.
that's not until next week.
It's also CMHA's Women in Wellness Day. Those days don't normally overlap, but I'm busy with that today. Excited about it happening tonight at 7.
Yes, I'm looking forward to that. Am I coming? Yes, I'm gonna curl up on the couch and put it on my phone and watch.
It's kind of like the introvert's paradise. You get to go to an event without leaving the house. I love it.
So true. So true.
So I'm excited. I just met, we've talked through email and on the phone before, but I've never met. I guess I can't really say I've met him yet in person because I'm online, but I'm excited to have a chat with this bloke. How about you, Michelle?
Yes. And I was joking with Sam earlier that it's not often that I know somebody that she doesn't. So
exactly. Well, here goes. Here's one of the first times, Michelle. We're going to bring on Ian Stewart.
Hello.
How's it going?
Things are good. Yourself?
Good.
Things are good. It's a good Thursday.
Indeed.
January's been really rough, but it's a good Thursday.
Rough but good weather.
That's right. You're right. That is a good spin.
Yeah.
So Ian, it's funny because we posted that we were having this conversation with you on social media last week, and we had a couple of comments like, finally, like they're all like, where's Ian Stewart?
Oh, really?
Fan club
I figured you were just finally getting to the bottom of the barrel.
Man, you're a world record holder. You are Truro famous by definition.
Well, maybe. I guess I do hold a few world records. So some of the certificates are on the wall behind me there. I see them behind me.
Humble brag.
Yeah, just a little bit there.
So let's dive right into that, because I know that's how a lot of folks know who you are. What are some of the, Matthew, you guys watching, and he's calling you a rock star. Hey, Matthew.
Hi, Matt.
And maybe give us a little insight into what those records are. I know a lot of us know, but walk us through.
Well, the very first one was back in 2011. I broke the chainsaw juggling record for 3 chainsaws. And that was a big deal to me at the time because it was something that hadn't been done. And that record stood till just a couple of years ago. And then after that, Guinness invented a new record for 1 chainsaw and 2 balls. And I thought, well, heck, maybe I can beat that one too. So I broke that one. And then I thought maybe the axe juggling world record. So I broke that one, and it just kept going. And now I have some that aren't even juggling now. I just got one for crossbow sharpshooting. And I got one for opening beer really quickly.
Yes.
Is that the one you just broke, like, recently?
The beer one?
The beer one?
Yeah, I did that through the summer. I think maybe July. I remember it was a really hot day.
Because you were trying to do it on that Facebook Live with Landsberg.
That's right. And I've been chasing that record for a long time. I just wanted to do something a little bit different. And opening beer with a chainsaw kind of goes with the show, but it's a little bit of a departure from the juggling. So I just thought, okay, I really want to do that. I think that was the 4th time that I tried. And then the next time I succeeded. And when we did it live, I don't know, I was just off that day. When we did it on that show you're talking about, that live stream.
Yeah.
I just had an off day. And we did it again a week later, and I had the most on day I've ever had. Like, not even in practice do I do that good. The existing record was about 27 beer opened in a minute with a chainsaw, and I did 34. And I didn't break a single one. Like, I just go into it assuming I'm going to break a few.
Yeah.
And I assume some are going to knock over and things. No, I got to the end, I was like, they all stand up and not one's broken. It was amazing.
Like, it seems to be like the most Canadian Guinness World Record idea you could have, right? Take a chainsaw and open a bunch of beer.
It's a great trick. I always do it in the show, and I joke that I cracked the secret. I found the way to write beer off of my income tax.
Hey, very smart.
Yeah.
Like, And just hearing you talk about all of those records, and I apologize in advance because I'm sure you get this a lot, but like, where does that impulse come from to be like, I'm gonna juggle chainsaws, or I'm gonna try to open beer bottles with a chainsaw? Like, where does that impulse come from?
Some nights I can't sleep very well. At this point, I was on the Guinness website the other day, and a friend of mine, another guy from here in Truro, he said, "Are there any magic Guinness World Records?" I said, "Well, let's find out." So I went on to Guinness and I looked up different Guinness World Records, and I found one, and I said, "That is stupid. Why is that a record? This shouldn't be a record. It's most magic tricks performed while hanging upside down in a minute." Now, and I said, that is not a record. Nobody's ever done this. It shouldn't be a record because why nobody's done it. You do one trick, you broke the record. But right. They said, well, you have to at least 15 in a minute, so I'm going to do that now. That's next on the docket, because I said, that's just neat and it's something different, so I'm going to learn how to do it. And most of the records started much the same way. It was, I can do that. Well, I can do it a little bit better. And then I found out there was a record, and I just said, I'm going to break it.
That's so cool. I love how you're motivated by that and seeking out different records that you can try to break. I think that's just really super cool. And I'm just going to interrupt myself because Heather, our pal Heather, is commenting. Heather Clark, she says, "I think hypnotism is so cool, and I always wanted to go to one of your shows when I saw them advertised, but never actually got myself there. Introvert problems." But COVID, she's going to go and make sure she goes to one of your shows because you incorporate lots into your shows. Hypnotism is one of the things. What are all of the components that go into your shows?
Well, I always joke because locally I am probably more known as a hypnotist.
Okay.
And I think a lot of that's because I've done the CEC Safe Grad quite a few times.
Yes.
South Colchester had me quite a few times. Bible Hill, Onslow. A lot of local schools have me come in and do the hypnosis show. But on an international scale, I'm known as a juggler.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's juggler / stuntman type thing is what most people know me as. So it's kind of an odd thing to me, like that people don't know I can do both. I just had a call last week for a show, which is rare these days. During COVID, there's not many live shows going on. And they wanted to know, can you do something different? Because you can't bring people up on stage and hypnotize them right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, oh yeah, I'll do a magic and juggling show for you. They were like, you can do that? I said, I'm actually more well known for that.
Yeah. Wow. And it's funny. I mean, I'm from Truro, and I obviously, I know you more as a juggler too. I'm not sure where that came from, but maybe I'm an anomaly.
Well, you worked in events a little bit more, and
True.
For things like the chainsaw juggling record, I did I did an attempt up on English Street last year, and I failed at that too, which, it does happen when you get into the higher numbers of throws and catches that, to roll the dice whether you're going to hit the record that day or not. And then I went back and broke it again at, what was that thing called? Highland Games, I think?
Yes.
Yeah, for a library. That's where we broke the record that time. Yeah. So a few times when I've needed community support to do things like that, the town's been very good to me and allowed me to do things along those lines.
I can imagine, like, for me, the pressure, like we talked about, I failed doing the one in downtown on English Place. Like, the pressure of that has to play into that, doesn't it? Like, knowing, I mean, obviously people are always watching you do that stuff, but like, wouldn't the pressure of like, Ian is going to attempt to break a world record, doesn't that play into kind of...
Well, I thought that particular one, when I was talking to the Downtown Truro Partnership and they were asking me if I had anything, and I said, well, I could do that. I thought that I was going to sort of slide it in under the radar and that nobody was really going to know I was going to do it. And instead, right, people found out. And when I got there that night, I love this community support. I love that everyone shows up to see it. But when I looked around that crowd, there was a huge crowd, and I knew a ton of people there. And there was people from Halifax there that I knew. There was people who'd driven in from all over to see this, and I was looking around, and it was harder because I knew all those people.
Yeah.
And when we did it, because somebody came up to me afterward and said, we're doing the Highland Games, why don't you come and try it again there? We didn't put it on the schedule. We didn't do anything. And I did everything backwards. When we did it on English Street, I slept in, ate well, took a nice calm day, did everything. When I did the Highland Games, I got up and went to the gym and, ate garbage food all day and just went in and did it and peeled it off.
It's sad but true that that's sometimes the case.
Well, yeah, and it used to be that to break a Guinness record, you had to have an event. It had to be a big thing
Right.
that the public could come to. Well, through COVID, we're not allowed to do that because nowhere in the world is allowed to have big events at the moment. Well, very few. And so they're allowing us to break records at home as long as we're able to get a few witnesses and video. And you have to document things more heavily, but you don't have to have it in an event, which is kind of nice because I've been able to do a few in the yard and stuff and just say, hey, listen, I need a few people to come over and I need you to measure and do everything. And Guinness has been really good about posting my records on their social media recently.
That's great.
Yeah, it's super. They posted a video on their Snapchat that got millions of views. Actually, it was funny. Someone that worked at the liquor store in town was the one who told me about it. I didn't even know. I was going through the checkout and they said, oh, hey, I saw you on Snapchat this morning.
What?
Yeah, not confused, but
that was a private story. What?
Yeah. Well, I was wondering what I did last night. And they pulled out their phone and showed me, and I was like, wow, check that out. And they posted a video of me last week that got 250,000 hits in 3 days. And they've been really supporting me, which I'm really happy about.
It's funny. I was going to ask you, and before you said that, how they get tracked now. Like, obviously before, there used to be the prints, like the books printed of Guinness World Records. And I'm assuming there's a website now that has all of the world records that are listed. And obviously they have social media too.
Yeah, they're huge on social media, but they still have the book. The book is still the world's best-selling book, published in, what is it, 17 languages or something like that. It's all over the world. Interestingly, when I was in Cuba last year, still last year, they were asking me about the stuff, and I said something about Guinness World Records. They didn't know what I was talking about.
Oh, wow.
I'd never been anywhere that didn't know what Guinness World Records was before.
It hasn't infiltrated communism yet.
I guess.
Fair point.
Well, I mean, Guinness, the world record business started from the beer, correct?
It is. It was a booklet that they published to put in the bars to settle bar bets.
Oh my God.
That's a cool story.
Yeah.
Because really, that's where that would have started. Like, I'm going to juggle at 14 axes. No, I'm going to juggle more.
Yeah, it was for people to sit around and say, what's the world's fastest bird? And what's the highest in airplane flown? And things like that. And they had a book that they could find the answers.
That's very cool. I did not realize that. But it leads me to my next question, which is probably another question you get a lot, and I apologize. But how do you train for this?
Years of no social life.
I just mean like the fear of the chainsaw going, like the first time you're training with an actual chainsaw scares the you-know-what out of me. So how do you get past that?
I remember when I got my first chainsaw, I was still living with my parents, and it was like the story of some kid sneaking cigarettes. I went and snuck this chainsaw from the store and took it home. At a local machine shop, I took it in and got them to weld a handle on it. Then I took it home and I kept it hidden in the garage, and was trying to keep it from being seen and everything. And I would start without the chain on it, without the chain or the bar.
Great.
Without this part, without the sharp, spinny part on it.
Yes. Okay.
And,
I love you have one just right off camera that you can pull from.
Yeah. Don't you have one of these in your office?
Yeah.
Yeah, surprisingly not. No.
Actually, one thing I laugh about a lot was that when I get a lot of complaints from people who mean well, saying things like, you shouldn't be doing this in front of the kids, and you shouldn't, what if kids try and imitate you? And so, yeah, I don't want anyone getting hurt, but at the same time, if it's your kid, keep them away from your chainsaws. Why does the kid have a chainsaw?
That is a good point. Yeah.
But no,
What did your parents think when you brought this chainsaw home and started?
They didn't know for quite a while, and I didn't bring it out till we had company.
Ah.
Smart.
Yeah, so it's just like these days I just train by working out and practicing and just juggling every day, and I juggle until I can't throw anymore.
Mm-hmm. It must just be muscle memory now.
It is. I quite often, like the last record that I broke, somebody had broken my one chainsaw and two balls record, which was, try and tell this quickly. I had the record for juggling one chainsaw and two balls for quite a few years. And then it got broken again. And I looked at the number. I had done 216 throws of the chainsaw. The record that was broken was 567.
Jesus.
And I looked at it and I thought, okay, I'm out. I'm out.
Yeah.
I can't do it. Well, of course, I couldn't let that happen. I got up the next day. And by the way, I should not check the Guinness site before I go to bed, because when I see someone beats one of my records and I'm trying to go to sleep, there's no sleep to be had. So I got up the next day and I started practicing, and I couldn't do it. I couldn't even come close. And then I realized, I went through the rules really carefully. They changed the rules, the wording just slightly, that the wording was now most throws and catches while juggling a chainsaw and two balls. When I broke it, it was throws of the chainsaw while juggling a chainsaw and two balls.
Ah.
Gotcha.
So the 567.
You have 3 things to catch instead of 1.
Exactly.
So you still have the record.
I still have it. The 567 did not beat my record. And so I said, I'm going to beat it again. And in my head, I was going to beat it by 1 throw, just for fun, because I thought it would be hilarious to have a record that was less than my previous record.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
I just thought that was funny, but I got going and I got to that point and I was feeling really good. And I said, I'm not even partially tired, so I'm going to keep going. I ended up getting over 1,185 throws and catches that day. And so I smashed it. I more than doubled the record.
Yeah.
And I submitted it and they approved it right away. And I thought, wow, that's, crazy that they were able to do that. But for that one, I didn't practice a whole lot. I just got up and was in a mood to do it.
Wow. Oh my gosh. It just blows my mind. I just always think, it's like I think about with figure skating, if you're a pairs figure skater, that first time that your partner throws you into like a triple axel or whatever, it's like, how do you do the first one? That's like because you trained with the chainsaw without the scary things, but then obviously there is that first time that you're training where it's actually on.
And it's a shot of adrenaline, and I still get that adrenaline when I do this stuff now. Like even in my regular shows, which hopefully will become regular again soon.
Yeah.
Every time I get to the saws, I'm excited and ready to go.
Yeah.
Wow.
And you were on America's Got Talent?
I did America's Got Talent. Back in the day, we had Canada's Got Talent, and I was on that too.
Yes.
And I was on Germany's Got Talent.
Wow.
Yeah, Das Super Talent.
That's awesome. I didn't know that. That's really cool.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
So you obviously I guess the rules are that you don't have to have citizenship in those places to be on the shows. I didn't realize that either.
Originally you did, but a lot of the acts do tend to move from show to show now. So I know pre-COVID, I was talking to Britain's Got Talent, Italy's Got Talent, France's Got Talent. And I was really excited for those ones just because I thought they were going to be neat. But of course, instead I'm here.
How much of that stuff is moving online now, though, do you think? Like, will there be, because, we're starting to sort of settle into maybe it's not going to be as quick as we were hoping to get things back in person, where could they do something like that online?
They're doing the TV shows online. I had an email here the other day that America's Got Talent's going, the audition round is going to be how we're doing it now. You do your talent at home,
right?
And just watch where they are. I'm hopeful that live entertainment is going to come back. I love being in front of a real audience, and you can make really good YouTube videos, but I tend to think doing live entertainment has the interaction with the audience, which is just impossible to get online.
It so is. Yes. I find even on a much smaller scale, having meetings when people have the option to like turn their video off or whatever, you know what I mean? You're not really having the same connection in that smaller scale either.
Well, quite often, like with corporate events, that was a major part of my work, and it would be, a 2 or 3 day convention, and they'd usually either have me the first night or the last night. If it's the first night, they want everybody to meet each other and get talking.
Yeah.
If it's the last night, they want a big send off. And I love those events because the people there quite often, they're stuck at the convention. I may as well go down and watch the show. And if you can have that audience loving your show, then it's a good day.
Yeah.
Some places are trying to do it online now where they book your show and you do it virtually online. And I'm going, these people have been stuck looking at a screen all day. I think they have the option to not watch the show. Why would they? They can go watch what they want.
It's true. It's very true. And you get screen fatigue, right? It's just, plus you're tired of looking at yourself all day or wherever you happen to be.
Yeah.
But it's the whole entertainment and aspect of our lives that I don't think people realized, just how many entertainers there are relying on live events and that.
Oh, for sure. And I'm really hoping that the events are able to pull through because we don't know if the exhibitions and the little festivals and a lot of these things rely on volunteers as well. That, if the volunteers don't volunteer this year, well, next year I spent this weekend at the cottage last year. And I don't know if people, it'll be harder to get them back. I'm really hoping we have a few this summer, but it's hard to tell.
Yeah, and I worry about, like you said, the small festivals that rely so much on local support, sponsorship from local businesses, local volunteers, that won't come back. Like the bigger ones, I think we'll see. Maybe not this year, but hopefully next year.
I would love to see it this year, but I'm pretty much at this point, I'm thinking Christmas is hopefully when I return to live entertainment.
Yeah. It's, of course, I work with the Busker Festival and I'm not privy to their planning yet, but there's hope for like a modified version of it in some way. But we did it online in 2020, which was an interesting way to do it, given that, everybody was from all over the globe and just basically sent in videos and we spliced them together to make a 2-hour show type of thing. So
and that's better than nothing.
Yeah. Pardon?
It's better than nothing.
Oh, that's my mantra for 2020 was it's better than nothing. It's Facebook cut it off in the middle and it's still better than nothing.
What was interesting was I went from full tilt. I was working. And then Friday, March 13th, I finished the show. And when I finished the show, I went over, got my phone, and it was canceled. I went from business as usual to stop.
Yeah. And that's what we were saying before that you and I were on the same flight home, like on the 10th, I think, of March, the red eye from Calgary. You were dropping your son off for March break.
Yeah, I didn't get him back for 5 weeks.
Did he come home?
Yeah, that was 5 weeks of him out there because when I dropped him off, he's like, cool, buddy, see you next week.
Yeah.
And no, he was 5 weeks. It's the longest I've ever gone without him.
I remember thinking that after. I'm like, I wonder if he ever went and cut his son or not.
Yeah, it took a while.
Yeah.
That flight we were on March 10th was the last commercial flight I was on.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
Okay. I was around the same. I was coming back from Toronto on, I think it was March 7th that I came back from Toronto, and that was it for me too. Crazy time. Ian, you are from Truro originally, yes?
Yep.
Where did you grow up? Like sometimes, because we've chatted with lots of folks, obviously, and I like to hear some of like the schools that you went to and some of the teachers that you had.
Well, when I say Truro, I gravitate a little bit away. Belmont out in the.
That counts.
Yeah, exactly. We're not too far away, but grew up in Belmont and eventually moved to Onslow, and now I'm in North River, so I'm slowly working my way to Truro.
Yeah, there you go. Over the years, I actually went to North River Elementary School.
Great. My son goes
there now, but I know the area very well.
Yeah,
that's awesome. So, what are your favorite places to go, and what are your favorite things to do when COVID is not an issue and you're going out and about in town?
Oh, I can hardly wait for an event that gathers people together. My whole career was based around groups of people in one place. And that wasn't just my career. I just happen to enjoy that. I like when people are out socializing in big groups of people. I'm hoping it'd be real nice to see that Rock the Hub happen.
Wouldn't it?
Yeah. And, things like that, the beer fest that they used to do and the wine fest, the bottled and stuff. That's what I'm looking forward to after this.
Yeah, we had some build up to some really fantastic events in town that I hope will still be around on the other side, because, we went from, there's nothing to do in Truro to some weekends there's too much to do in Truro.
Oh yeah, that square there in front of the library is fantastic.
Yeah.
Yes, we have a comment here. I missed a comment from Leanna. She said, "I'm thinking she's calling you the coolest," which
could be any one of us.
Yeah, just the general trio.
Yeah. And then Marilyn McDonald just commented, Ian. She says, "I remember watching you and Charlie Acourt perform for your graduating class at CEC."
Yeah, me and Charlie graduated together. I remember when Charlie started playing guitar back in junior high. I think he was starting. I remember him getting really good really quick in junior high.
We had him on here too, and we jokingly, we couldn't get him off of the call. We talked to him the longest of anyone. It was like an hour and 15, 20 minutes or something. We were like, it was lovely.
Awesome, though. It went really fast. It was like, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
I'm going to go full Truro here then, because if you graduated with Charlie, then you graduated with my sister, Melissa.
That's right. Yeah, I went to junior high with her. I was in her class in one grade.
I did not know that. That's awesome.
Yeah. I'm thinking grade 7 or 8, maybe 7, 8, 9. I don't remember.
I'll find out.
Yeah, say hi.
I will too. No, that's awesome. And so yeah, of course, you and Leanna are both from Belmont.
Yeah, she lived just up the road from me.
Yeah, so she's saying coolest Belmont kid ever.
Oh well, I don't know about that. Belmont's got its interesting people.
Leanne, you're pretty cool too. We'll just throw that back at you if you're still.
Okay.
Leanna's pretty cool.
She is very cool. Yes. So Charlie Acourt, what you guys played at your graduating class? Is that?
As I recall, we did a graduating class banquet. Just everybody sat down, had a meal, and had some music, and I did a couple of tricks and so on. Yeah. Of course, that was a couple of years ago.
Yeah, you've been doing this for a long time, hey?
Yeah, I actually I started back in junior high, and in high school I used to take off a lot of Friday afternoons and go do shows. And then I got out and I decided I went and got trained as I went out to DeBert and got my pilot's license. Figured, hey, I should be get some training in something and have a career. And I worked doing shows the whole way through that, and then figured, well, flying was a neat idea, but I should get a real job doing card tricks.
Hey, whatever works.
Yeah.
That's so. I didn't know that you had until you mentioned it before we went live. I didn't realize that you had a pilot's license. Are you actively using it now still?
I go once in a while just for fun, go zip around, look at the town and so on, but that's all I've ever used it for.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
so cool to have.
Yeah, it is. And, flying's great fun. That DeBert Flight Center out there, they have a great program going on where you can get your pilot's license and rent planes and go sightseeing. It's pretty cool.
That is so cool. Oh, we've got another background story here. I don't know if you can see this, Ian.
Yeah, I can.
Ian pulled a strip of condoms out of a teacher's purse.
Yeah, that was part of the show.
Well, you were graduating. You had nothing to lose.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you want to share who the teacher was? Do you remember?
I don't remember the name. I remember it was one of those teachers that you ordinarily wouldn't be able to get away with doing something like that too.
Yeah.
And but she really was in a good mood that day.
Sorry, I cut you off. I'm just asking Marilyn to comment the teacher's name if she remembers.
It wasn't a teacher I had, I remember.
Oh, okay. Right on. Going back to the hypnotism, because that to me is fascinating. How do you train for that? Like, what is the process of becoming a hypnotist?
I loved hypnosis. I remember my parents took me to the Calgary Stampede when I was a kid, and they had a hypnotist there. I thought it was so cool. Then my junior high out in Onslow, they had a hypnotist. James DeMont came in for a few years, and I remember the principal let me go talk to him. And then I started reading all the books I could find on it. And then when I got out of high school there, when I was doing the pilot's license thing, I went down to Florida and got trained as a medical hypnotherapist, to stop smoking, weight loss, depression, ADD, painless childbirth, all that stuff. And it was really, it was interesting because you got to learn how the mind works, because when you do a show, you have a ton of people come up on stage. You only have to hypnotize 5 of them to have a fun show. Mm-hmm. Somebody comes to you to quit smoking, you got to hypnotize that person. So it really taught me a lot to do some actual training of it that way. And then I went to Vegas and met up with a fellow there by the name of Ormond McGill. And Ormond was about, I think he was 86 when I met him. His book that he wrote, it actually is the Encyclopedia of Stage Hypnotism.
Oh, wow. Really?
Yeah, he wrote that thing, and he wrote a bunch of other books. And so I took training from him.
Looks like a light read.
No, no, not at all. Very, very dry. And I learned from him, and then came back and started doing a lot of shows. And I was fortunate at the time because there were hypnotists in the area. There was Ravine, Robert Lamar, Kirk McNeil. Kirk McNeil is still a very good friend of mine. And they all quit at the exact same time. Ravine retired, Robert had kids, Kirk became a professional pilot. and so I was here with this wide open market that I could do shows. And the best way to get good is by doing shows. Yeah. So I did a pile of shows and ended up being able to make it into a good time.
Yeah, but you don't have your own "The Man They Called Ravine" jingle.
I've never felt the need for that.
No TV ads for you.
I don't have the sequin suit and everything.
Well, it's funny here. As soon as you mentioned Ravine, I thought in my head, "Oh my God, I forgot about Ravine." And then I remember that his song is "You'll Never Forget Ravine." So I did. I've proved him wrong after all of these years.
Yeah. Yeah, and hypnosis has changed quite a bit. Like his show was incredible for its time. He did a 2.5-hour show or something. I don't even remember. It was long. And now I think attention spans have just gotten shorter. My hypnosis show is 45 minutes to an hour.
But that would be, have you ever had anybody who volunteered but was stubbornly couldn't be or didn't want?
Oh, all the time. And when you do a show, like I say, you bring up as many people as you can. You only need a few to have a good time.
Yeah.
So when you bring up the volunteers, if you there's no sense spending half an hour to hypnotize someone who's resistant when you could get 10, 12 people that are perfectly good in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
This is really making me want to go to a show. I'm with Heather. Heather, if you're still watching, we're going to plan when COVID is over, we're going to go to a hypnotist show. I really want to go now. I remember we had people come, and I don't know if it was Ravine or not. Actually, it might have been. Who came to our school too, and it was amazing.
Oh, for
school? I went in junior high, and all I remember is the clucking chicken thing. Like he made people cluck like chickens. That's my only recollection of it.
Yeah, for schools, it's great because I'm not the show. I'm a facilitator. Yes. And I'm bringing them on stage, and so it's far better than any other entertainment you can give that age group.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's
yeah,
very
because they're laughing with their friends.
Yeah, and when their friends leave, they talk to their friends about the experience and what happened, and
Yeah.
it's really good. And now, especially, everybody holds their phones out and records a little bit of it and shows it to them. Quite often, they don't remember.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I suppose that's, yeah. Now you get the actual proof of what they did when.
Yeah.
That's very cool. So do you have plans for any future records? Like, is there one right now that you're like?
Yeah, I'm chasing a bunch right now. Because I can break records in COVID time. So it's something with my work that I can do right now.
Yeah.
I've got a list. I think I've got 7 I'm working on right now. And I mean, who knows if I can break one or any of them, but I've got a few that I'm working on to do. I've got one that's juggling a chainsaw while balancing on a thing. It's a
good.
piece of pipe with a board on top that's sort of like a teeter-totter that you balance on. And most throws and catches of a chainsaw and 2 balls on that.
My hands are clammy.
Anxiety.
Like, as you're saying that, my hands are literally clammy right now. Like, I can't even imagine.
Yeah, that's good for business.
Yes. Yeah.
It's like we're watching through our hands like this. That's what I would be doing if you were doing it right now.
And I get people who hire me that say that was incredible. You know, we loved looking at the audience, because half of them are like, no. But the show, like, I've never done a gross out show. You know, there's some sideshow guys that come out and the whole point is to just gross out the audience. I try to go with, this is something that probably shouldn't be possible, but I'm going to do it and show that it is possible. A little bit, it's, you know, both work, both are entertaining, but I've always tried to just make it be, hey, ordinary person, extraordinary things. Anybody can do this sort of stuff.
Yeah. Whenever you post a video on Facebook or something, I know that you're fine because you posted the video. But I watch the video and I'm just like, are you posting this from the ICU?
No, I've only ever gone to the hospital from one trick ever. And that was an unsupported ladder. It's just it's a circus prop that it's just a ladder and you walk up without leaning it against anything. It's like stilts that are attached together because you kind of got to hop from side to side. And I took a really nasty fall off that one time. And aside from that, I've been pretty lucky. I mean, you know, every job has the occasional slip up of something, but I've never had anything else serious.
Yes. Oh, man.
That's knocking the wood of my desk.
I know. That's impressive for how many years that you've been doing dangerous things. So that's awesome.
Yeah. Well, dangerous, but the dangers are...
You've got the skills to make it less dangerous for you. It just looks
right. Exactly. Like sometimes when I do stuff with crossbows and stuff, I think, you know, well, geez, if one of these ever gets me, it's bad. But I've done it so many times, and I'm so careful when I'm doing it that it's probably not going to mess up because I am focused on it. It's the same way, you know, people don't hurt their back by lifting the piano. They lift their back by standing up out of the chair wrong.
True enough.
Right. Fair enough. Yes. Good point. Oh my goodness. I feel like I have a million questions about the technical side of things, but that would be more like one-on-one questions that I would nerd out on.
Okay, well, help yourself. You probably can't ask anything I haven't heard.
Yeah, I'm subjecting everybody to all of my minor questions. What's next? Like, I know we're waiting patiently for live events, and I know this is not an easy question to answer, but what's next for you, aside from the records that you're trying to win? What are you working on?
Lately, I've been working on some, I have a theory, and maybe I'm wrong on this, but I'm thinking that after COVID, people are going to want kinder, gentler entertainment. I think they're still going to enjoy the chainsaws. I think that's going to be good, but I think, especially with the political situation down a little south further and things like that, I think people aren't going to want shock humor. They're not going to want put down humor. I think people are going to want good, clean fun.
Yeah.
So I've been working on right now I'm working on a 3 and 5 ball juggling routine with a lot of jokes in it. And so far, none of the jokes involve that I'm using balls. It's, trying to challenge myself.
39 minutes and 30 seconds before making a ball joke.
No ball jokes till almost 40 minutes in.
That's good. I like it.
And I'm working on a plate spinning act, which is sort of
cool.
Yeah, it's very interesting because it's an old vaudeville skill where you take plates and spin it, and I buy the plates at IKEA.
Okay.
They're just regular plates, but if you have the right size flue rod, you can actually spin them on them, and they'll keep going. So I'm working on getting a whole bunch of those going at once because I think people just enjoy seeing something that they've never seen up close done. That's just visually appealing and hopefully has some humor and stuff.
And it's the nostalgic side of it. Like, people are really leaning towards nostalgia right now, I think, while they're in like isolation-ish. So I think you're totally right. It's just going to be an extension of that in public.
Yeah.
I think we're going to be just so excited to see live people that aren't, two-dimensional.
Yeah. So I've been taking away, like, I'll always do the stunt stuff. I really like doing hard, challenging things, but I also just enjoy seeing people laughing and smiling and getting along. I remember I was volunteering at the IWK one time doing magic for sick kids, and there was this kid slouched in the couch. He didn't even have his head up. He just was slouched back, and I remember hearing, "Oh my God, he's smiling." And the mother said that she couldn't remember the last time the kid smiled. And that is really important stuff to me. And when I'm looking at an audience, I don't know which one of them might be having a rough time. And if they're smiling, great. That's something that I can do that makes people happy. And that's the challenge.
Oh, man. That's awesome. Very rewarding.
Exactly, because you just don't know. I've had some people that have come up to me and said, "Wow, I really needed a laugh today," and that was great. Yeah. So we don't know each person's backstory.
No, exactly.
That's the power of entertainment, right? And performing, and I miss watching people do their thing. Yeah.
Well, I'll be back as soon as it's safe to.
Yeah, we'll just find you one day. You'll be out in Civic Square, just randomly there.
Yeah, well, I'm not much for the online world. I just, I prefer interactions. I know you folks like your online a lot more than I do, but I do have to bust in and do some stuff online just to make sure I'm still entertaining some people.
Yeah, and it's different. Like we were talking about before, like. When you see comedians who are doing online work, well, how are you a comedian when you can't hear the laughter? And that's the same for you. How can you thrill and chill people when you can't hear the and the like?
Well, I always used to say if I had if I was doing magic and juggling, I have a 45-minute show. Mm-hmm. It's a bad day when it's over in half an hour.
Yes.
But it's a good day when you only do half the material in 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Because that means that everybody was enjoying it so much that you had byplay going and you couldn't get through everything.
Yeah. Very true.
Well, this has been a lovely chat. It's been great to get to know you a bit better. Michelle, I kind of already asked this, but do you want to ask our usual question?
So we have a traditional last question. That one of our Local Love Truro awards is Most Loved Place to Show Off Truro. So if you have somebody visiting from out of town, where do you take them in town to show off?
Usually if I have someone showing up in town, we go to the Nook and Cranny just because it has the best selection of beer in town.
Yeah. Yes. Nothing wrong with that. No, that's good.
Yeah.
What's your favorite kind of beer to show off?
I prefer dark beer myself. Serial Killers, pretty good. I used to like the Hell Bay Dark and stuff, but they don't carry that anymore.
Okay. Do they do their own dark?
They haven't had a dark in my memory bank.
Okay. It's a Serial Killer's Big Spruce, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah.
Cool.
Which is a segue because they're in Nyanza, Cape Breton, and we have Nyanza coming on next week.
Perfection.
A local author. So that's a segue.
Nice one. I like it. Awesome. Thank you so much, Ian, for joining us today and for chatting with us. And I hope I didn't ask too many obnoxious standard questions that you get all the time. But yeah, thank you so much and have a great rest of your day. And we'll keep our fingers crossed that live events will be back soon.
Yes.
Great. Thanks so much.
Great. Thanks, Ian.
And thanks to everybody for watching along.